Hello everyone, and welcome to the pilot episode of Living with Cerebral Palsy and Finding the Incurable. My name is Matt Powell, creator, and tonight is basically a welcoming episode where I'll talk to you about what cerebral palsy is, what our mission is as a group, the different types of CP, and basically what we plan on doing in the future. First of all, Living with Cerebral Palsy was a group I created to basically for people around the world, 800,000 people in the U.S., approximately half CP. And basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to create a group where people can share their stories, their dreams, and their goals. So I was sitting in my room one night and I was thinking to myself, how can I do this? Because I wanted to do it all my life, I just never knew how I can do it. And I was thinking to myself, who am I to do this? Who am I? What are people going to say? This is just an average kid. But then I thought about, Facebook. I thought about, a social networking site where people from all around the world explore. And I said to myself, this is where I'm going to start. So I created that, and I got to know some people who have CP. I was lucky enough to have friends who supported me. And they told me how good this site was, and I was very happy, because I didn't know how people would take it. So that's the group I created. Now, many of you may be wondering, what exactly is cerebral palsy? Cerebral palsy is a disability that is caused by a person not gaining enough oxygen to their brain. It can affect the person physically, it can affect the person mentally, or they could have combinations of both symptoms. And each person with cerebral palsy, it varies, between each person. Now, there are different types of CP. First type of CP is spastic cerebral palsy, which is the most common type of cerebral palsy out there. And what happens with that is your muscles become tight. You have trouble walking because your muscles are tight. For example, you'll limp. Sometimes you'll see kids hold their hands like that, hold their hand like this, and sometimes the day won't be so good for them because of this. And a lot of times this happens through growth spurts. So if a kid is growing, their muscles will get tighter normally, and so that's spastic. Another type is called ataxic cerebral palsy, which only occurs in 10% of kids, believe it or not. And that type of cerebral palsy, what happens is when your body is under stress, which normally happens with a kid with CP because their muscles are tight, when they go to grab something such as a glass, if you go to grab this mouse, for example, and your body is under stress, your hands will start to shake, and a lot of times, your leg will start to shake because you've become nervous over this. And like I said, this happens when the body is under stress, and it only occurs in 10% of kids. Now, another type of CP, and let me grab my paper here because I don't want to mess this up. Another type of CP is called athetoid cerebral palsy, which occurs when the muscles actually fluctuate between being too tight and too weak. Now, what that means is some days patients, their muscles will be tight, where they'll hold their hand like this. They'll have trouble flexing their muscles. They'll have trouble moving their muscles. And then another type is when they're too weak, when they might actually have trouble walking, period, or doing everyday tasks, such as tasks that people take for granted, like brushing their teeth, such as combing their hair, such as washing your face, etc. I think you get the picture. So, and then there's a fourth type of CP, which is mixed, which I actually have, which is a mix of the three types I just mentioned. And I have a mixture of both ataxic and spastic, and that's the types I have. So, and also I want to mention about ataxic. I told a person I talked to on this group, I said to them that I would talk a little bit about this, about ataxic, who's this guy named Carl, whose son his name is Oscar, said, he said that, his son is having some troubles. His son has just been diagnosed with ataxic, and fortunately they did some early intervention programs with his son, and his son is communicating through different types of electronic machines and sign language, so I'm happy for him. But I want to stress to Carl tonight and his family that what they're doing is right. I'm not a doctor, I'm just going through personal experience, but what they're doing is right. They should do some early intervention programs, which they have been doing. Also, let me recommend therapy. Now, therapy has been a huge thing that's helped me through my life to keep my muscles loose and to help me walking. And also, it seems to me that when I get through your story, Carl, Oscar is doing well. It seems like he understands the language, using sign language, so which is a good sign for a person with CP, which shows that there always could be improvement. And you never know what could happen, what therapies will be out there over the years. But now let me shift gears and tell you a little bit about my life with CP and my dealings. As I said before, cerebral palsy is a disability caused by a person not getting